You're listening to your brain on air. Program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
أنت تستمع إلى دماغك على الهواء. سيبدأ البرنامج قريبا. استمتع.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. And even the kids are getting in on the violence these days. St. Paul police, if you haven't already heard, described a disturbing interaction recently involving a toddler pulling a gun on officers, apparently during a traffic stop. God help us, ladies and gentlemen. Once the children get in on the violence, I'm just going to say it, there's no hope for humanity anymore. Play the clip.
A dropping story out of St. Paul, where police say a toddler pulled a weapon on an officer during a traffic stop. This happened on Monday when police pulled over 37-year-old Kenneth Terry for not wearing a seatbelt. He also had warrants for his arrest.
Of course.
When they were taking him into custody, another officer says one of the 3 children in the back seat, all under the age of 3, pulled a gun from a diaper bag and had it turned toward them.
Folks, this is clearly a case of a man who has trained his child. Clearly, I know under the age of 3, so you're going, how much, action does this child really have in their brain on this? I'm telling you, this person is training their child for combat. God help us. The innocent have been corrupted by our world of filth and sin. There's no hope for us anymore. This kid hasn't even been to school yet, and he's already practicing on cops before he already gets there. This is terrifying.
Was coaxed to put the weapon down, and fortunately, no one was hurt. Terry now faces a charge of child endangerment.
Endangering who exactly, ladies and gentlemen? For all I see, it's a father teaching his child a necessary thing on the mean streets of St. Paul. That's you need to know when it's a good time to pull a Glock on a cop. I'm just gonna say it. This is a satirical show. We're just having fun. I thought we were gonna try to turn down the heat. Now apparently we've got one Jewish representative. He's sharing voicemails that he's getting. By the way, this sounds absolutely fake. Like TMZ, this call I guarantee you is an actor. Even though, by the way, he's not entirely wrong about what he's saying. Let's just hear the clip, courtesy of TMZ. Ladies and gentlemen, showing us the rising wave of anti-Semitism, hitting our one and only Jared Moskowitz, representative of I cannot remember where exactly.
The U.S. government needs to kill Jews. You kill these nasty Jews. Israel is an abomination. It's fake. Jews from Europe are fake Jews. These are Ashkenazi, satanic fake Jews. Kill every single Zionist scumbag. Zionism is treason to we the people and our U.S. Constitution. Kill Israel. Kill Jewry. Kill Judaism. Kill every Jewish supremacist there is. You kill these. If they claim to be God's chosen people, you kill them dead. You kill every Jew.
Folks, clearly America is in a good state for debate and reasonable minds. Folks, listen, this is casual racism. So don't fuck with me, ladies and gentlemen. I ain't a casual racist. I'm competitive. Big leagues. I can tell you the origin of the Khazarian Jews and how the Ashkenazis are fake Jews, but I'm not allocating, all of my government's resources to the idea that we need camps. I'm saying we need to stop funding the state of Israel in general, and I'm saying maybe we need to have, treason trials, and maybe some people need to be considered for lifelong sentences and things like that. But listen, when it comes to the effects of worldwide Jewry, I'm deeply concerned about that. I'm concerned about Jewish supremacists just as much as I would be Christian supremacists, because supremacists are capable of existing in any group no matter what. Listen, know that these morons with the goofy long sideburns and the stupid hats are no better or worse than you Eucharist-enjoying cracker munchers. All of you worship demons and forces beyond your understanding. All of you are will be as equally disappointed when hell isn't waiting. Loved ones aren't waiting. Nothing is waiting for you after this. And if it were up to me, we'd dissolve all of the goofy little rituals, the Islamabad, the Christianity. I don't care. I want people to stop hiding in tunnels under synagogues to commit blood libels, and I want churches to stop trafficking children to old men for sex parties. I want all of you bastards to quit it. I want Islam to knock it off with the child marriages. Just because she bleeds doesn't mean she's ready for marriage. Folks, it's our monkey cultures. We are hominids. We have to remember that. Make of them what you will. We love ritual. We love little get-togethers. We love dancing and drinking. And we love our little things that make us feel connected to something larger than us. There's nothing we can do to stop it. All we can do is try to stop them from kidnapping kids for it. Some freaks in our world will always want to reenact the crucifixion of Christ with a little toddler. That's all that they need the blood for the marinara sauce and the challah. That's the bread. Some poor people, some poor parents, they're just going like, what happened to little John? John is being eaten by rabbis, priests. Maybe the real demons, by the way, are the ones who wear robes and claim they represent and talk to God. Maybe they are the antichrists that we were warned about. Guys, I love this energy. Life is demanding without understanding, but I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. Now I want to help you see the signs, just like Ace the Base. Now, no one is going to drag you up to get into the light where you belong, but where do you belong? I know I probably lost some of you with this. I know I probably lose a lot of people when I mention that they probably worship Saturn without knowing it, but won't you please let me back into your heart? Trying to live without your love is one long sleepless night. I need your view, all right, ladies and gentlemen? Let me show you, girl, that I know wrong from right, like abandoning our ally Taiwan. That's the right move here. Let's lock up that trade deal with China, and let's be honest, not every goddamn democracy is our problem in this world. Sorry, guys, but you can probably figure out some sort of Hong Kong deal with China, and then, I hope you like your protests just like your ice crushed, you know what I mean? Let's cover this latest deal with China, and this trip Trump is on that is going to be over the troubles, the future aircraft carrier, you can call it, for the Chinese Communist Party that is the island of Taiwan. Let's cover this subject. Go. We got the Power Summit in Beijing reaching a tense peak late Thursday as President Xi Jinping issued a direct and pointed warning to President Trump. Mishandling the issue of Taiwan could push the world's two largest superpowers into, quote, clashes and even conflict. During 2 hours of face-to-face talks at the Great Hall of the People, Xi emphasized that Taiwan remains, quote, the most important and sensitive issue in the bilateral relationship, signaling that Beijing views current U.S. arms sales as a red line that cannot be crossed without severe consequences. The friction currently is centering on the stalled $11 billion weapons package that includes Patriot missiles and advanced anti-drone hardware. While Congress is pushing for immediate delivery, President Trump is signaling that the willingness to use the deal as a bargaining chip is more in his favor. Before heading into the second day of talks at the, Zhongnanhai Garden on this Friday morning, Trump told reporters that he had not yet made a final determination on the sales, stating simply, I heard him out regarding Xi's opposition to Taiwanese independence, but notably, he did not make a comment in return on it. Beyond the Taiwan Strait, the shadow of war in Iran is looming large over the summit. The White House confirmed that the two leaders have reached a tentative agreement on the Strait of Hormuz that it must remain open to ensure the free flow of global energy, obviously. And in a significant diplomatic move, Xi indicated that China could increase its purchase of American oil to reduce its dependence on Tehran, a shift that would provide Trump with a major win to bring home to voters as he sees lower domestic gas prices ahead of the midterm elections. The summit is wrapping up today, May 15th. The world is watching for official launches of the Board of Trade, a new bilateral mechanism designed to resolve commercial disputes and manage the future of artificial intelligence. The rhetoric is still remaining high for both sides. Obviously, they both have to, every summit is a pissing match to some extent. You need to show that you're the bigger person, if not in height, in spirit. I think that's sort of the energy that both of these men are carrying into these agreements, into these, not really agreements, these debates. Let's hear a little bit from the mainstream news. Why not?
We begin tonight with the breaking news right here in Beijing. President Trump's mission to China, his high-stakes summit with President Xi. The two leaders about to meet for a second round of talks here. President Trump welcomed by President Xi with an elaborate ceremony at the Great Hall of the People. President Trump
These two men dress like how I used to for my band concerts. The same kind of ill-fitting suits. Well, not ill-fitting, but it's like the best that your mom was able to get for you at the time and whatnot. Well, like you can barely center your tie half the time. These two men just look like me on my way to play the trumpet for people.
Flattery, calling President Xi a great leader here. Behind the scenes, the summit taking a serious turn. President Trump focusing on the war in Iran, asking China for help with its ally, Iran. The U.S. hoping China could put pressure on Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. President Xi delivering his own message here, a sharp warning to the U.S. about Taiwan. ABC's Mary Bruce here in Beijing, leading us off tonight.
Beijing.
China giving President Trump the kind of spectacle he loves. Elaborate military displays. Children jumping and cheering. The full power of the Chinese state on display.
What I love about the Chinese is they're as though the North Koreans and the United States had this, not the United States, let's call it the USSR. Just this, not Russia currently. I'm going to be honest, it calls more back to the communist days of Russia, more so along the lines of like Stalinist Russia, where they have the big military parades, they have the women dancing, they have the children that are like trained to jump and cheer and wave the flags in a certain way. They have the Eastern performance factor where they really love to play up how like the arts factor of their country, even if it's just like little fans or whatever, or it's like women with makeup and it's like really simple kind of, but it's like really cool for them. It's like when you go to the Polynesian people and they like grab the like skirts of the grass and stuff and whatnot, and they like juggle fire, and you're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like primitive, you know what I mean? It's like it's what they have around the island, you know what I mean? These people aren't like having drone shows like they do in Saudi Arabia, where they like recreate the head of like one of the princes or something out of drones in the sky. You know what I mean? These people are like fire swallowers. They're like, throwing shit up in the air. But Asia, they do things like they have sakura trees. No, wait, that's Japan. I'm trying here. I'm trying. All right. I'm just going to continue.
The American delegation filed into the Great Hall of the People. Secretary of State Marco Rubio marveling at the ornate ceiling. Cameras jostling to get the
You can't use that word anymore. They're not called the ornamental.
shot as Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping entered the room. Trump lavishing praise on his host, calling Xi
I heard someone call it an ornamental rug, and I was like, you can't say that anymore.
a friend, celebrating their, quote, fantastic relationship.
Such respect for China, the job you've done. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody. You're a great leader. Sometimes
Saying it to everybody diminishes the meaning. Why would you say that, you fucking retard?
you're a great leader. I say it to everybody. You're a great
Say
leader.
it to everybody, even
Sometimes
BB.
people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true.
Xi taking a different, more formal tone.
双方合则两利。
When our two sides cooperate, both benefit, he said. When we confront each other, both suffer. China and the United States should be partners instead of rivals. Trump brought with him the nation's leading CEOs, hoping to forge new ties on trade and technology.
Elon was like on ketamine the whole time. You see clips of people pouring champagne for him, and he's just going, woo, yee. He's just like, he looks like he's riding a horse in his dreams or something like that.
According to Chinese state media, behind closed doors, Xi delivered a stark warning to the American president. Do not interfere in China's efforts to take over Taiwan.
I predicted it. What did I say? Ladies and gentlemen, you can go back to my prediction episodes. I was saying that China is going to take Taiwan before 2028. It's going to be a blow to America's image to an extent, but here's what I think. It's going to be one that Trump is willing to negotiate on. He's willing to go, listen, it's going to make us look like we're not willing to stand up for our allies. However, if we're getting a grand bargain that is going to benefit parts of the world economy, I can take it back to my voters. You can take it back to, your serfs, I guess, because you don't, they're not voters in China, but whatever. And we can all come out of this deal looking peachy. And you know what? I think she was like, that sounds good.
Handled poorly, the two countries will clash or even come into conflict, pushing the entire U.S.-China relationship into a very dangerous situation.
Right?
Taiwan is an independent democracy, but China says it belongs to them, threatening to take it by force if necessary. After the meeting, both men tight-lipped.
Great. Did you talk about
Great.
Great place? Incredible. China's beautiful.
He's being such a good boy. They're standing next to each other, and Xi was like, we agreed. We're not going to say anything. If we say anything, it's going to be great. If we say anything, we're going to say it went great. And then Trump's like, it went absolutely incredible. It's just wonderful. He's a great place. They know how to decorate with listen, I love the ornamental world. It's very fascinating.
His own request. that Xi uses influence over China's close ally, Iran, to open up the Strait of Hormuz, blockaded since Trump launched the war more than 10 weeks ago.
He said, if I can be of any help at all, I would like to be of help.
But it's unclear if Xi agreed to pressure Iran.
He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. He said that today. That's a big statement. He said that strongly. But at the same time, he said, they buy a lot of their oil there, and they'd like to keep doing that.
And David, China was out first with its statement, that warning about Taiwan. The White House readout came hours later and didn't lay out any specific progress, either on trade or Iran. And Xi has now announced he'll soon be welcoming another big visitor, Vladimir Putin.
Yes, indeed. And then they are going to start their deals because if you don't already know, Russia is in talks with pipelines. They want a transcontinental railroad that is going to run all the way to Europe. Their plan is they're going to route one way through Tehran. They're going to route one way through Russia. China doesn't want to fully depend on Russia. They want to have one route that's going through the Middle East because they don't want their northern routes to eventually get cut off if they get into a skirmish with a northern power, because generally China, you have to realize, when it comes to their influence, yes, they want to influence their sphere. They generally don't have global reach capabilities or even wants when it comes to a lot of things. Would they love if the rest of the world used their AI data collecting sphere and whatnot? Absolutely. But are they going to be knocking over countries in like West Africa? No. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that I think that they're interested in the territorial waters, the region around them, East Asia. I doubt that they have any Hitlerian level outlooks. I doubt that anybody really does at this point. Many people thought that Russia had this Hitlerian outlook with the Ukraine territory, even though they refused to. You ask them, what about the Kievan Rus? And they look at you and they go, what the fuck does Kievan Rus mean? They don't realize that Russia is literally where the country of Russia gets its name. Kiev is where the Kievan Rus got their start. Kiev is, Ukraine. So people who say that there's no historical ties with Russia, it's ridiculous. When it comes to the debate as to whether or not it should be a sovereign independent nation, I support people that want to be, independent, want to speak their own language. I don't support the idea that you're suppressing Christianity in that nation, or you're suppressing Russian books, or you're suppressing Russian speakers, all that junk. There's aspects of both countries that I don't love. You know what I mean? I think China absolutely is going to be the economic sphere that we want to either negotiate with, or is going to be the main competitor within the next 25, 30 years, whatever the outlook is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna keep an eye on it as it wraps up. I'm gonna tell you how it goes. Wait, is it Friday? Yes, it is Friday. God, when you forget what day it is halfway through the broadcast. Anyways, I will report on it. I guess not tomorrow, but on Monday, I'll let you know how it went, how everybody's feeling, and where everything else is gonna stand. In the meantime, I think we should take a pivot over to this thing that the United States is calling the learning recession. A new Education Scorecard report has found what I've been calling the Great Retardation has been proven. It's a sobering new report from Harvard and Stanford researchers, and it has reframed the national conversation on education. It's revealing that the learning recession in American schools has actually begun a full decade before the pandemic. In the 2026 Education Scorecard released Wednesday, it shows that the student achievement in math and reading peaked in 2013 and has been on a steady, alarming decline ever since. Let's talk about it, ladies and gents. Go. Okay. Lead researchers are describing the pandemic not as the cause of the crisis, but as a mudslide that followed 7 years of slow erosion, pushing 8th grade reading scores to their lowest levels since 1990, ladies and gentlemen. I've been calling this the Great Retardation. You see it all the time with these kids on Instagram. Go on your phone right now and look up kids trying to read, and you will find clip after clip after clip after clip. The school tried actually to suspend this student because he was going around recording his fellow students, reading basic sentences, and he would say, now summarize it in your own words. I'm pulling it up right here, right now. I need to. Okay, here we go. He pulls up to this one lady, and then he's like, can you read this? She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. Not a really hard sentence, in my opinion, to read, but let's see how much these kids struggle.
Clothes that were... Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know. To wear a silhouette of clothes that were. I don't know that word.
The kids can't read.
These are students at Philadelphia's prep charter high school.
The kids cannot read, folks.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what they're saying.
Can't read it. Can't read it.
Kids are just not able to read. And if you haven't been seeing it, if you have not gone on the phone lately, I understand. We don't want to believe everything we see on social media, but reports are now indicating a U-shaped recovery that is leaving middle-income families behind. The wealthiest districts use private schools and bounce back, and the poorest districts saw gains fueled by massive infusion of federal pandemic relief funds. Middle-class schools, though, are stagnant. Experts are showing that two major culprits for the pre-pandemic slide are the dismantling of the rigorous test-based accountability systems. This was going to be a major issue. Once you said testing was racist, or that certain degrees of maybe math because certain students are designed to comprehend it more. What do you mean? A Persian invented it. Are apparently brown or black students not able to add just as good? Experts are pointing to to that one, and then the rapid rise of social media use among young people, which researchers say has had disciplined reading at an all-time low and fueled a surge of chronic absenteeism. However, there is a glimmer of hope in what the report calls districts on the rise. States like Maryland, Louisiana, and Tennessee are seeing early reading improvements after mandating science of reading reforms, a back-to-basics approach that emphasizes phonics and evidence-based instruction. While math scores have begun a modest national rebound, how nice to see, reading remains a primary battlefield. Educators are warning that without a national mobilization to address social media distractions and the looming end of federal aid, the learning recession could become a permanent fixture of the American landscape. In many ways, it already has. You know what I mean? The 1990s. That's a long time.
In the middle of a learning recession. A new report warns the U.S. is experiencing just that, and it's a slide that actually started before the pandemic's disruptions to schools. This all comes from the Education Scorecard, which includes analysis from scholars at Harvard, Stanford, and Dartmouth. And joining us now is Professor Thomas Kane, an economist and faculty director at Harvard University's Center for Education Policy Research. Thank you so much for your time today, Professor. So we know you helped create the Education Scorecard. Can you break down what the results actually show?
So everybody knows about the losses that occurred during the pandemic. But what our research suggests is that the pandemic was just the mudslide that followed about 7 years of steady erosion in student achievement. So since 2015, 83% of school districts around the country have lost ground in reading. 70% have lost ground in math. So for the parents out there that think everything is fine in their school district, they ought to go to the Education Scorecard and just check and see how their district is doing and how they've declined over time.
Yeah, those numbers are shocking. What are some of the factors that could be contributing to them?
So there are at least two things that happen about the same time.
The kids are lazy.
States and the federal government sort of dismantled the test-based accountability systems that had been built under No Child Left Behind. And the second is that social media started taking...
Thank God for No Child Left Behind. It's the only reason I graduated.
Over, kids' lives, and it both happened around the same time. So it was almost as if we turned off the smoke alarm that was the test-based accountability just at the same time that social media was sort of setting fire to kids' learning after school.
Hell yeah.
Yes, this is just for me.
And we've become the smartest generation there is, ladies and gentlemen. You can probably tell based on this show.
What can parents actually do to help out? I know, obviously, we place so much responsibility on schools and teachers and the schooling system, but families, parents, is there any role they play in all this?
They do, and actually probably one of the simplest things is to focus on student attendance, making sure your children are in school. What's happened, unfortunately, is student absenteeism rates spiked during the pandemic, and they've come down, but they've flattened out at a level much higher than they were before the pandemic.
Why go to school?
So this is one of the things that...
Wait a minute. Why go to school when the job that you want is going to be taken by AI in a few years? Why go to school when you can make thousands of dollars selling images of your body on the internet? That's the argument that many kids are falling into, unfortunately, these days. They're going, fuck it, I'll wait till I'm 18, and then I'll be Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria Season 3. That's many people's idea about a future, by the way. Many people are just hoping to make it big on the internet. Why? Like, in all honesty, do you think that the economy is going to be in a fantastic place, let's give it 18 years from now, when your newborn baby next year will be able to, like, start getting jobs? Do you think that they're going to be in a better place than they would be now, given the fact that Kevin O'Leary is about to modernize the tech industry? This Canadian billionaire, he's about to come in and build this massive data center that is going to listen, the power usage alone is absolutely ridiculous, but guess what? It means that that call center job or whatever, fuck that. You don't need to be doing that. Why are you wasting your time making money, helping people over the phone? We can have a robot do that, and then you can just go figure out something like starving, or like eating out of the garbage, or finding out how to set up a tent so your 3 kids do not shiver and die. Quite frankly, that is the situation we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Am I happy about it? Is anybody happy about it? I don't think so. But is it the situation that we're living in? This place was either supposed to be heaven or hell, and it was up to us what it was meant to be. And have you ever given that a thought, maybe? Like the idea that maybe we were meant to make heaven on earth. The idea that heaven is not something that we are going to earn in the afterlife. It's something that we're meant to make with the people around us while we're here. I don't know. I'm not trying to get all hippy-dippy, on you. I'm trying to get all neurovirusy on you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to get all Hantavirusy. I'm trying to talk about illnesses. I'm trying to do a segue to the rapid-fire section of today's headlines, where we're going to talk about a ton of things that you need to know about in order to keep your media diet healthy. Let's begin with CDC is monitoring 41 people across 16 states now for Hantavirus. There's currently no known Hantaviruses in the United States, as we know of, but like we've said, 8 weeks is a long time to wait for symptoms to show up. Let's see.
This morning, in the wake of that deadly cruise ship outbreak, signs of hope here at home, with the CDC now saying there are no known cases of Hantavirus in the United States.
Known.
The announcement tied to new testing at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, where health officials say Oregon physician Dr. Stephen Kornfeld has tested negative for Hantavirus 3 times since first isolating here Monday, and has remained asymptomatic. This after they said one of his 2 tests taken on board the ship came back positive.
That initial test that he had was likely a false positive.
Citing results from an ongoing CDC assessment, doctors adding,
he does not have antibodies to hantavirus, which means he was likely not ever exposed or ill with hantavirus.
Dr. Kornfeld was being treated as the lone American case of hantavirus, spending days in this Omaha facility's highly restrictive biocontainment unit. Doctors say he's now moved into a quarantine unit like 15 of his fellow passengers. Among them, Jake Rosemarin, who's been documenting life in isolation.
The villain of this story, by the way.
Between exposed passengers on the cruise ship and people who came into contact with them, the CDC says they're monitoring 41 people across at least 16 states.
How nice.
Roughly half, they say, are isolating at
Washington, Oregon, California, Utah, Arizona, Texas, Kansas, North Dakota, Minnesota, New York, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia.
Home. The rest under observation at hospitals in Omaha, Atlanta, and Kansas City. Health officials in Canada also sounding alarms, saying they're monitoring 36 Canadians, including 4 cruise ship passengers now isolated in prearranged lodging. So far, they say, none are showing symptoms. Globally, 10 hantavirus cases and 3 deaths have been tied to this outbreak. Health officials here at home working around the clock to contain the spread.
Now, amid all of this, doctors here stressing anyone exposed to Hantavirus, no matter how they're testing now, could still test positive later on. And because of that, the CDC says they're still, their words, really encouraging all the passengers quarantining here to stay through the virus's full 6-week incubation period. Laura.
All right, Maggie, we'll see. Thank you.
We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that they continue to stay there. They're doing us all a big favor. I'm not trying to give him a hard time, but god damn it, he needs to stop uploading videos from inside quarantine. No one cares. Jake Rosemarin, no one gives a shit. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. Donald Trump is taking Elon and other tech finance moguls to China. However, where is Liang Wenfang? If you haven't heard of this gentleman, DeepSeek. This is a Chinese large language model, AI developer, and he hasn't been seen in over a year. This is a curious little habit that China has of making CEOs of people who either they may speak out against the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, they may speak out against Xi Jinping himself, who has written himself into Chinese law with Xi Jinping thought, which is basically this doctrine of his own thoughts on the law and how it should be run, how government should function. Anyways, this gentleman, let's hear about this person who's gone missing, as what the fuck am I even doing? Chinese people go missing all the time. I don't need to be mispronouncing it to disrespect their memories even further.
Remember DeepSeek, don't you? That's the Chinese rival to ChatGPT and OpenAI. Well, what if I told you that its CEO, a prodigy called Yang Wenfang, hasn't been seen in public in a year, and nobody is quite sure where he is? According to the South China Morning Post, Liang was last seen in February 2025 when DeepSeek launched its R1 model. That's the one that was supposed to rival ChatGPT, but run on only a fraction of the computing power. Liang appeared on TV meeting Chinese leader Xi Jinping, and then he just vanished. He was nowhere to be seen as DeepSeek launched its latest model, V4, this April. And this is hardly the first time that a high-profile Chinese tech entrepreneur has gone missing. Just a few years back, Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, basically the Chinese version of Amazon, also mysteriously disappeared. Nobody knows where he went or what happened to him for the 3 months that he was gone. But it's widely suspected that the Chinese Communist Party was behind it. You see, China keeps a very close eye on Chinese companies, embedding CCP members within those firms to basically keep an eye on them, sitting in on meetings, taking notes, and reporting everything they see and hear back to party headquarters, all of which is supposed to ensure they don't defy the government. Almost certainly, the CCP will have been keeping a very close eye on Liang and his supposedly revolutionary AI model. Has he done something to upset Xi? Will we ever see him again? Only time will tell.
He's just gone. You know what I mean? Some people just go missing, quite frankly. Honestly, you know what I think they were hoping for with that David situation? They were hoping that she would just go missing. They were hoping that that Tesla would eventually, it's a Tesla, someone was going to go through it eventually. But I think they were just hoping that it would get crushed into one little cube and then people would never think about it again. It's some 14-year-old girl. Well, guess what? Singer David's murder trial has been delayed over a mountain, apparently, of new evidence in Celeste Rivas's case in L.A. Let's hear about this supposed new evidence in the trial. Go.
He was in a Los Angeles courtroom again this morning. This time he heard his hearing would be delayed till the end of June. The reason? A mountain of evidence, including police reports, photos, videos. In fact, detectives started downloading their case on Thursday, and it's still not done.
No.
David in court today looked very tired. He looked very disappointed that his trial had been delayed. So we'll have to wait to see how this case proceeds until June 29th.
June 29th will be our next update with the David case. In the meantime, he will be in jail. That's sorry to hear it. Your music was fine fine. Maybe you had like one song that didn't sound horrible, but then your voice is just like you're a David Bowie situation. I don't like your voice. I like some of your writing isn't bad. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to McDonald's Park. The Chicago FC's new stadium at the 78 officially has revealed its new name, McDonald's Park. The naming rights for McDonald's Park were announced in a joint press release by McDonald's and the Chicago Fire FC on Wednesday. So McDonald's will play an active role in shaping this park, including the design of a flagship restaurant inside the stadium and immersive fan experiences, officials say. So listen, when I see these like developments, you're seeing like these people, these used to be the things that like billionaires used to get into. You used to see like plazas that were put up by so-and-so. Oh, it's Hildeberger Plaza or Bing Salaba Plaza. Like it's, I don't know, some Easterner. And then like, it used to be this sort of luxury thing. Now, most people don't realize that it's like Subway is doing like a miniature park or whatever. They have, there's like, you know what I mean? It's like we're going to do the grilled chicken themed park, and it's going to be outside of some place, on 8th Street. That's, listen, it doesn't cost very much to sponsor things anymore, especially when you are one of the bigger fast food restaurants in the United States. People don't realize that you have infant meat in your food most of the time. Don't worry, I'm waking people up to it. I've still been on the cold turkey. The cleanse. I've been off the adrenochrome for months now, ladies and gentlemen. I've avoided it wholeheartedly. I haven't been back for a McChicken, no matter how tempting it is, ladies and gents. But this is horrific because this is only a way to rebuild up the image, ladies and gentlemen. I think they're going to be sponsoring. It's Chicago. They're going to be coming to Minneapolis soon, and they're going to be sponsoring like a redoing of the Vikings Stadium or something like that. Or I think it's going to be like the Chick-fil-A Stadium. Let's take a look at this horrific design.
McDonald's and the Chicago Fire FC, they are teaming up in a big way, and they have announced a landmark deal to name the team's new stadium. Ready? McDonald's Park. There you just saw it. The stadium is set to open in 2028. It's the company's first naming rights deal for a major pro sports venue.
Such goy shit.
And the celebration, Alicia, it's coming here as well.
This is the Temple of Solomon for Goyim. This is the house of worship for. It is the most brain rotted, the most like you have gray matter instead. You have nothing flowing through that gray matter. All the neurons have been dismantled by the disease-ridden food you've been shoving into your mouth for the last few years, and you're just gonna go. I'm gonna sit in front of I'm gonna watch the Chicago FC, whatever. I'm gonna watch the. I don't know who play. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I don't know any of the. I'm gonna watch the Bulls or some shit. Is that Chicago? Close enough. And then I'm going to watch the Billings or some shit, and I'm going to get a Chicago Indians jersey or some shit like that. It's absolute, it's no IQ. It's not low IQ, it's no IQ. This is the level of like, of fella that they're approaching with this.
And experience. And the celebration, Alicia, it's coming here as well. We've got some special guests that are going to be stopping by live in our 6:30 half hour.
What?
And if they are getting ready this morning, pressing those outfits, we would like some hash browns. Who do you think the guest is going to be?
Probably somebody purple, but not Barney.
Grimace, homie. Who wants to hear from Grimace? He's terrifying, ladies and gentlemen. I want to cover a different story besides this absolute travesty to nature. If I catch any of you going to there, I swear to God, we're gonna need to talk about this. This is a serious issue. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. If you still are eating at Arby's, we need to talk. I need to intervene. You are being the goy, sheep, sloppy pig that they want you to be. You cannot go for that roast beef. It makes the buns wet. It's disgusting. It's vile. They don't listen. The fries aren't even good. I was about to say, the only decent thing on Arby's' menu is the fries. They're soggy, they're gross. And curly fries, by the way, you'd be better off picking up like a bag of them from the store and making them in an air fryer. And you'd be better off getting the plastic from the air fryer all over your food. You'd be better off doing that than going to Arby's still. Because Arby's and shit like that is only designed to give you diseases, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe me, wait 30 years and wait for the stomach ulcers. I tried to warn you. Ladies and gents, 3 dead, including a child, after SoCal house fire. Domestic violence is suspected, officials are saying. This is, by the way, typical for a Montebello home. This is Montebello, California. Montebello, let's take a look at it on a map. Wow. Okay, yes, it is in the Los Angeles County area, ladies and gentlemen. This is, this is high end. This is people who, they don't need to love their families. The families are there. Listen, at a certain degree of wealth in your life, you have to realize that your family isn't the thing that gives you joy in this life. The thing that gives you joy in this life is the hollow moment when you open up that package of the new item, and then you grab it and you do whatever you're supposed to do with it. Maybe it's like fun little sunglasses, and you can take you can take the earpieces off and you can hide a joint in there. I've seen those. Those are fun. Or maybe you get maybe you hire a new swimming pool boy that you can cheat on your husband with. Maybe you're at such degrees of money. You're living in Los Angeles County. Nothing matters anymore. Life doesn't matter. Your children don't matter. The only thing that really matters, that you realize that you've had everything that any person could ever hope for. You don't desire anymore. You only consume. You only exist as a consumer. And you realize eventually, after sitting in your haze of, it's going to be Vicodin, you're going to be on Ambien, you're going to be on all of the pills that they try to get you on to keep you docile if you're from this region of the country. And you are going to be in between maybe a third glass of wine, and you're going to think about, you are going to think so hard about the directions your life could have gone. You are going to go, what am I doing here? I'm living in Bel Air. I'm living in fucking Sherman Oaks. I'm living in fucking whereversville, Los Angeles County, California. Why do I have this child? Why do I have this stupid husband? Why do I have this stupid wife? Why do I have this stupid family? When all I want to do is make love to Lucifer, all I want to do is experience all the sexual gratification, the spiritual gratification, the everything that a human soul, not even a human, I'm going to transcend the human spirit. I'm going to become the spiritual being I was always designed to be. And what's the only way to do that? This person begins to pour through the ancient text. They begin to pour through the esoteric knowledge, and they find out the only way to really seal yourself a spot in the Legion of Doom, as one would maybe want to call it, is blood sacrifice, a ritual. And you know what? Maybe this person, whoever did it, realized that life serving Satan as an eternally, it'll be gnashing teeth. Your body will feel on fire, but it'll be like Hellraiser. It's a sexual. It's a so much pleasure in the pain type of a thing. You know what I mean? That's the level of hell that most people realize, that they realize nothing on this earth will ever give them the pleasure of slitting throats, throwing you off of a cliff, just like living in Sodom and Gomorrah is what gives a lot of these people true and utter pleasure. They don't find it in the hearts and souls of the people around them. They don't find it in loved ones around them. They don't find it in the idea of having a family with somebody. They find it in being a demon on the planet. And if you don't believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I don't even have to say Epstein anymore. I just have to say, look at the world around you.
We begin with that breaking news out of Montebello. 3 people are dead, including a child, after a deadly house fire.
Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell is live at the scene after police gave an update not too long ago.
Amy.
Javon and David, police and fire department investigators have been here all day, and they're still here conducting work at the scene. But we do now know that a woman, a man, and a child were killed in what police believe to be a horrific case of domestic violence. Take a look. Firefighters were called to the home on the 100 block of South 5th Street around 4:30 this morning, where they found the residents engulfed in flames, the blaze igniting the detached unit, forcing some nearby residents to evacuate. When police officers arrived, they found an injured woman just outside the house, the male victim found a short distance away, a neighbor describing the shocking scene.
Wow.
Well, we just saw a man and a lady just burning. Honestly, all her skin was off, her hair burned off completely. And she was just screaming for her son. And afterwards, they just gave us the news that the son didn't make it.
At this time,
We believe that the male involved in this case is a suspect. This does appear to be a domestic violence related incident. We unfortunately can't confirm their identities as we're waiting for the coroner's office to identify them.
Pretty tough to identify, like, charred steak. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell which cow that came from.
Neighbors tell us a boy lived in the home. We don't have his age yet, but he is believed to be related to one of the adults who died. Now, as far as how this fire started, arson investigators are going through the rubble, working to determine exactly what happened. But again, police do believe this is a case of domestic violence, and as we come back out here live, the identities of the victims will not be released until family members have been notified. Reporting live in Montebello, Amy Powell, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, this isn't even a nice neighborhood of Los Angeles. My analogy actually makes even less sense. So I'm going to compare it to something even better. This is boys in the hood. This is people who live in LA. They live in North LA, to be fair. You know what I mean? Montebello. They, you know, it's an area, you know what I mean? Not as many blacks, but for sure a lot more browns, you know what I mean? So whether or not these people were brown, that'll depend, you know, that'll change a lot, you know what I mean? So these people, maybe they're getting 40s every other weekend, you know what well, every weekend, let's call it. All right. It's a pack every week, you know what I mean? They can't afford a pack a day, otherwise it would be. They, you know, these people play dominoes. These people, you know, they get a beat from Kim and she can fuck all night. That's the type of fellas that we're dealing with here. And I think that they also realize it's like, why not just murder my whole family so that I can stop living in boys in the hood, where every time I walk down an alleyway, I feel like I'm hearing saxophones and I'm gonna scream Ricky. No one wants to live in that situation forever in their life, and especially, you know, Los Angeles, at a certain point, you just realize the heat, even though the weather's perfect, it's alarmingly perfect. It's hell on earth, because hell on earth is not like, it's not burning 24/7. It's like wildfires coming to eat your house every few years. All right. Amazon is launching a new thing that is it's probably going to kill a few of its workers if I have to predict it. Amazon is launching Amazon Now, with nearly 4,000 products becoming available for delivery in 30 minutes or less. The service will cost an extra $4 for Prime members and $14 for non-Prime members, and it is currently available in 9 cities, including Seattle, Atlanta, Dallas, and Orlando. And they're hoping to expand to cities near you in the coming months. Ladies and gentlemen, if you order this, you're worse than the ancient slave takers. You're worse than the people that would whip and beat their own slaves. You're worse than Marie Laveau. You're worse than Madame Delphine Lalaurie, excuse me. You were worse than this woman who would cut her slaves open in the attics. You're worse than this person who would like get that blood from your slaves and then like bathe your face in it in order to keep you young. You are worse than Madame Delphine Lalaurie of New Orleans. I have to remember my major cities. It's always the ones with different non-English names, because I'm an Englishman at heart. I have trouble pronouncing anything that's not like Smithsville, USA. So, okay, let's just see what they have to say about this new it's not North Atlantic, let's just call it trans-American slave trade.
Next day deliveries just aren't fast enough. Well, Amazon is raising its game. The company now launching Amazon Now.
God help you.
4,000 products available for delivery in 30 minutes or less.
People will die.
It's not free. Prime members have to pay an extra $4.
It's not free. You're paying with it, with the souls of these innocent workers that just want their kids to be able to go to school, and they just want their kids to have more nutrition than a granola bar. You're killing these people. You are assisting in the murder of these innocent young folks. You should be ashamed of yourself. Not all of them are young, also, by the way. These are 80-year-olds that are rushing. They are speeding through traffic with their already incorrect lenses that I don't need new glasses. I just need new lenses. You have these 80-year-olds that are going to be rushing. They are going to be slamming on the gas with your package in the back seat so that you can get it just like, as soon as possible. It's terrifying. You're evil.
An extra $4 for the ultra-fast service. It will cost non-members $14.
Fuck.
Now, Amazon Now is available in about 9 cities like Seattle, Atlanta, Dallas, and Orlando, but could be headed to a city near you.
Who wants that? If you want it, you're an evil human being and you are the worst among us. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that we need to go ahead and close out the rest of the episode with our final story. It's a doozy, don't get me wrong, it's an interesting one. We're heading up to the local regions of Bemidji, Minnesota, as a teen has shot his parents. Folks, if you haven't heard about this, a Bemidji teen has shot their parents for taking away his cell phone. The 16-year-old is being charged in juvenile court. The victims have survived. Now that they have survived, I can say this because I don't feel guilty because we're not dealing with a situation where they're dead. Valid crash out, ladies and gentlemen. Let me defend this teenager. Let's go. A community in Bemidji, Minnesota is reeling this morning after a shocking domestic shooting that left 3 adults injured, allegedly at the hands of a 16-year-old boy. According to court documents released this week, the teenager became irate last Thursday after his parents revoked his cell phone privileges. In a fit of rage, the teen reportedly commandeered a handgun and opened fire inside the family's apartment. This kid doesn't fuck around, and I have to say I respect it deeply. Ladies and gentlemen, this kid is legit. The violence didn't stop at the doorstep. It occurred inside, and then as the teen fled the scene, he allegedly shot a third adult in the parking lot before disappearing into the neighborhood. The shooting triggered an immediate lockdown of local hospitals and a massive 2-hour manhunt by Bemidji police, and the 16-year-old eventually turned himself into the authorities and reportedly confessed to the shootings, admitting that he had retaliated specifically because his phone had been taken away. You know, I could have never guessed. Remarkably, all 3 victims have survived. They are expected to survive their injuries, and the teen's mother has already been discharged from the hospital, while his father remains in stable condition at a facility in Fargo. Enjoy the city, buddy. In a poignant social media video shared from the hospital bed, his parents thanked the community for their support, and the mother added, "We still love our son," as the family begins the long road to physical and emotional recovery. Okay, I want to play the news clip because I promise on everything that I love, the moment you hear a quote from one of his family members, you're going to go, makes sense. Play the clip.
Armed and angry.
A Minnesota teenager is accused of gunning down his parents for taking his cell phone away. The shootings happened late last week in the family's apartment in Bemidji. WCCO's Rex Chapman shares new details about what the 16-year-old confessed to police.
Bemidji officers found 3 adults at this apartment building last week. All 3 were shot. According to the new criminal complaint, one of those victims told officers she was shot in the stomach by her son. Nearby, another victim, the shooter's father, found with a gunshot wound to his leg. A third victim was shot in a parking lot. As first responders took them to the hospital, it went into lockdown while officers searched for the shooter. 2 hours later, he turned himself in and admitted to officers. He became irate after cell phone privileges were revoked and retaliated by commandeering a pistol, shooting his mother and father, as well as a third individual who was near the scene.
Commandeering.
He has been charged with 3 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon and illegal possession of a firearm. In a social media post, the 16-year-old's uncle, who says he...
The uncle. Now, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment that everything falls into place and you go, I got it. Makes sense. Here we go. Uncle, take it away.
Legal possession of a firearm. In a social media post, the 16-year-old's uncle, who says he has taken guardianship of him, says, no matter what he was and is still going through, it's in him. We are Anishinaabe, and as a family, we will make it through this.
That makes sense. Okay. All right, I see. No matter what he was and is still going through, it's in him. We are Anishinaabe, and as a family, we will make it through this. Of course. And of course, it's his uncle, by the way. Anishinaabe, uncle shit, by the way. I just love it. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. All the pieces just slot into place the moment I was like, oh, this sounds out of character for a Minnesotan. This is bizarre. This is strange. You never normally hear about, like, a person shooting their parents, for God's sakes. And then, it was in him. We are Anishinaabe. Folks, that's, to talking about yourselves as Anishinaabe, I've met many Anishinaabe, and as someone who is a descendant of some Anishinaabe people, I know that many family members are not like that. They don't tend to want to shoot up their parents. You know what I mean? I'm not the type that got my eagle feather after I graduated. You know what I mean? I was a little too embarrassed to go to the ceremony. I'm going to be honest with you. And also I had plans that night, I think. But I'm just going to be honest with you. The whole thing, once you said, we are Anishinaabe, I was like, oh man, you're going to go all spiritual healer. We'll get through this as a family. Don't even worry about it, man. I can already hear the monotone accent. I love it. Love it. All right, the teenager now faces 4 felony counts, including first-degree assault and illegal possession of a firearm. He is currently being held in a juvenile detention center. Prosecutors in Beltrami County have already filed a petition to have the 16-year-old tried as an adult. I'm saying that maybe life. I know he didn't kill anybody. He attempted to. He attempted to kill his own parents. And I know people are going to go, oh, but his parents don't even want to charge. Obviously, dipshits, because they're his parents, but the state needs to step in and deal with this little threat to society, this little shit. I don't care how old you are. If you're under the age of 18 and you're shooting your parents, you're 16 years old, you stupid piece of shit. You know better than to take apparently possession of your illegal possession of a firearm and shoot your goddamn parents. You deserve to be thrown under the jail, you fucking Anishinaabe piece of shit.
As a family, we will make it through this. Reg Chapman, WCCO News.
That's it, ladies and gents.
They will push to have the teenager tried as an adult.
Good. The legal process is beginning. The case is reigniting a national conversation about youth mental health and the extreme digital dependency that can turn even common parenting moments into life-altering tragedies for people. Listen, I want to say it. I want to get it out there right here, right now. I don't know whether or not this was a situation of bad parenting, but more often than not it is. And it sounds like it's a situation of bad familying, because these people are immediately going to go, they make it a cultural thing. What are you doing? We are Anishinaabe. We shoot each other's parents all the time. That's just something we do. You don't know res shit, man? Oh, man, I'm riding indigenously, all that shit. That's bull honky, all right? Enough of this, like, oh, the sacred peoples. Oh, the noble savage men myth that everybody loves to talk about. I've met Anishinaabe people, and I've talked, when you live around the White Earth Reservation, you get to know them pretty decent. While they are a wonderful, kind people, there are just as many assholes in their population as there are whiteys. Believe it or not, they're people, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, this race that you love to prop up like the elves of the real world, these Anishinaabe, they're like, they have beautiful long hair, they live natural lives, and they live with nature, and they just understand the world around us 10 times better. Shut the fuck up. They just don't understand science, so they mythologize everything around them, just like every other human society. There's nothing special about them. They are not native to anything, just as no one is native to anything, ladies and gentlemen. Now, nobody is native to anything, ladies and gents. We're all just sort of sorted out as people wherever we end up, and then we make do with what we have. And by the way, you get wonderful deeds from the state, you get wonderful checks from the government based on the belonging to the tribe. So I'm just gonna say it, maybe getting the land stolen in the first place was kind of worth it for those government benefits. I'm just gonna be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else to put it. This is an unfortunate situation, but what are you gonna do? They're gonna get through it as a family, truly. Anishinaabes, I want to speak out. They don't all shoot each other. I don't know what this uncle's on about. He's like, we're Anishinaabe. We just do this sometimes. Quit being racist, you piece of shit. Indians are just as human as the rest of us. All right, I'm gonna end this episode with a message of pure wholesome humanism, ladies and gentlemen. We are all shit throwing monkeys, and don't get it twisted. Just because white people have figured out science, or like brown people have figured out algorithms and whatnot in India and whatnot, We're still just people who love to mythologize no matter what color we are. The Norse love to talk about Ragnarok, and the Hindis love to talk about the cycle of, rebirth, all that junk. And the Native Americans talk about the Wendigo. It makes really fun horror movies. Ladies and gents, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with Your Brain on Air. I hope you had a wonderful time listening to these stories. I had an even better time getting them together for you, honestly. This was just a treat. I hope you had a wonderful Friday broadcast with me. I hope you have a wonderful Friday, and I hope you have an even better weekend, ladies and gentlemen, whatever the weekend brings to you. I hope you're prepared for it. I hope you have a great time with it. I will be back at it again to bring you whatever news shows up in next week. Subscribe if you want to be there for it. Like if you like the video, ring the bell for notifications. In the meantime, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with Your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening to today's Friday broadcast. I will catch you next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, and bye-bye.